Good morrow, ladies and gents. It is I, the Crimson Crusader, your favorite anti-MGTOW YouTuber that MGTOWs love to hate. Welcome back to another video with your favorite White Knight. Now, today's video is going to be a little bit different from the videos I usually make on this channel. And what I mean by that is there's going to be a little bit of a change in style. Now, usually on this channel, my videos are a lot more structured, and I have kind of like some points and a little bit of somewhat of a script, you could say, that I kind of prepare ahead of time. But today, I guess what I'm going to do is do something a little bit different. I'm just going to talk about whatever comes to my mind and whatever I feel like right now, I guess, in the moment. And I'm just going to kind of experiment and see how this goes. And like the reason, as I said, that I'm doing, not as I said, but see, we're already doing pretty bad. I apologize, guys, because this is a little bit different style than video. So the reason why I'm doing, I guess, what you could say, or what you could call this a rant video, is because I want to experiment. I want to try something new. I want to try something different on this channel and, see if this is maybe a good and interesting way to kind of communicate my points and my ideas to you, my viewers, and my audience. So that's pretty much the plan in this video, and I guess I'm going to get started right now. So I guess one of the topics that just came to my mind right now, I think, and it's a very important topic that I think no one is really talking about, and it relates to the anti-MGTOW community specifically. So MGTOW, this doesn't really relate to you. This relates to us, the anti-MGTOW. And what I have to say to, I guess, the anti-MGTOW community in general, and I wouldn't say, this is not really, it's kind of a criticism, but it's more of something I'm just really sharing something we need to work on. And I think one of the things we need to work on is how we get our content out there. And what I mean by that is we're not very consistent in when we post our videos. We don't consistently post content out there. And the problem is it makes it a lot harder for people to find our message if we cannot consistently post content. Because part of the reason that social movements grow is on these social media platforms. Part of the reason like these social movements grow on the social media platforms is because they consistently post content. And the more content, that means the more likely people are going to see our videos and ideas, and that might inspire some of them to maybe take our side, or at least hear us out and listen to what we're saying. So the problem I have with that's in the anti-MGTOW community right now, and I guess I'll use myself as an example, is we do not post enough content. You look at any anti-MGTOW YouTuber's channel, and I guarantee you, none of them post often. They don't post often enough. And what I mean by that is like weekly content. Now, I know everyone has lives and they have things to do, but there's not one person out there who can post once a week. Look at the MGTOW community. They got lots of people out there, and they have guys who can post a video each day. So if we really want to be able to compete and get our message out there and onto the same level as the MGTOWs, we need to step up our game. And I guess one of the things I'm going to be asking you guys, and maybe let me know what you think in the comments, is what can we do to make it where we can post videos more consistently? Is there any ideas, any suggestions you guys have out there? And I'm really be interested in hearing what you guys have to say. Because look at any anti-MGTOW YouTuber. None of them post consistently. I don't post consistently. You can go to look at any other anti-MGTOW content creator. I think that, well, actually, here's the thing. There might be one who is kind of posting a lot of videos right now, at the time I'm recording this, but I don't know if but like, if you look at their past video, uploading, I guess, history or whatever, if you look at the videos of their channel, it's not very consistent. And most of the time, we can't even get 4 videos out a month. Not 4 videos. If you take all the people in the anti-MGTOW community, and you'll go through each month and you see, okay, how many videos does the anti-MGTOW community produce as a whole each month? We can't even get 4. And yes, there are maybe a few months where we do have that. But most of the time, we can't even reach that number. And that's about 1 video per week. And I think here's the minimum that we need to do. We need to at least, I don't care, just get 4. I don't care if there's other anti-MGTOW content creators out there, and I know there are. One guy posts a video this week, and then maybe we have another guy who posts a video another week. We just need to somehow get our message out there consistently. And that's the problem. Because we are never going to grow as fast as we should be if we're not doing that. And that's something that really needs to be addressed. And that's what I'm kind of bringing up. And I guess some of my suggestions are maybe like kind of, I guess, figuring out a schedule with other content creators, or maybe doing more collaborations, because I feel like we're kind of lacking that right now. There's not really a lot going on. I mean, you can look at any anti-MGTOW like community or big group, and nothing's really happening right now. Nothing's going. Now, maybe there are some big projects in the works that I'm not aware of, but like so far, there's not a lot going on. So at least that's one of the things I kind of want to talk about. Anyways, if you have any suggestions, let me know. One of my suggestions, as I said earlier, was just maybe getting a group of content creators and we can all maybe do some collaborations or. And I know there's some stuff that already exists out there, but I feel like it needs to do better. The anti-MGTOW community really does deserve better. Because, I mean, the least we can do for the people who watch our content is to at least give them some consistency. That's what we need, consistency. And that's why I'm repeating this, and I know I'm being very repetitive in this video, but I'm emphasizing a point. We need to work on consistency. So as I said before, if you have any comments, suggestions, leave them below. Now, let's move on to the other topic that just popped up in my mind right now. The other thing I want to talk about is MGTOW toxicity. And I know I sound like a broken record. I've repeated this so many times and in so many MGTOWs. The MGTOW community is toxic. You've heard me say this over and over again. Well, for those who are new, because I know there's probably some new people watching, or maybe there's not, but I'm just going to say it anyways. What I mean by MGTOW toxicity, I'm going to clarify here, is I'm saying there's a lot of bad attitudes and hatred in the MGTOW community. And I'm not saying that this is all MGTOW, but this is definitely a significant portion. The big problem in the MGTOW community right now is that there is no one who is talking about the issue. No one seems to care. And I know maybe there's some people out there who don't want MGTOW to be toxic. And I know some people might say, well, toxicity occurs in every community, and I get that. You can look at every community. Look at the SJWs. That's an obvious example. Doesn't matter what political party you have, Democrats, conservatives. Every group has its toxic members. But it gets very problematic when you have people saying outlandish stuff like women are demonic. There's literally a video out there, you can look this up, that literally calls women demonic. And you look at that video, and there's actually more likes than dislikes, which is just insane. I don't know how that. I can't believe that. It's just hard for me to kind of imagine that people would actually think, calling like women demonic is somehow okay. And I know maybe I'm being naive. I know there's some misogynistic people out there, but it's just weird. And going back to my point, I'm saying when I'm talking about like why MGTOW is so toxic. Now, here's the thing. A lot of people who are doing bad stuff, I'm referring to those toxic MGTOWs, right? And I know there's a lot of people in the MGTOW community who are fine. They're trying to mind their own business, right? Some of them maybe just want to focus on self-improvement or whatever. Well, the problem is they don't seem to care about toxicity in their own community, or they're not at least doing anything about it. Now, maybe there's some video out there that I haven't seen. Okay, fine. But we have barely anyone in the MGTOW community talking about this. And the solution, and part of the solution in MGTOW toxicity, is accountability. People need to be held accountable for the nonsense they're saying. We need to call these people out. The MGTOW community, if someone's saying something pretty insane and crazy, they need to call it out. And I think that it's every group's responsibility. I think we all have a social responsibility to some degree, police our own communities. And that doesn't mean censorship. That doesn't mean like, oh, I don't like your opinion, I'm going to shut you down. Kind of the same thing, but emphasizing point, not censorship. It's not about censorship. It's about calling people out for nonsense. I almost said a bad word there. And I promised on my channel update too that I would kind of refrain from bad words. See, it's a bad habit. I have a hard time with that stuff. Now, I know what you're going to say. Some of you are like, okay, anti-MGTOW, fine, we should maybe work on on being less toxic. But you guys aren't, clean too. You have toxic people, and I agree with you. The anti-MGTOW community definitely has its toxic people. And now toxicity is not just a MGTOW problem, but it's a lot more prevalent in the MGTOW community because no one's talking about it, really, at all. The only person I've heard who's talked about this is a content creator, and it's a female. It's a woman. And she talks about how there's like MGTOW toxicity, and she claims, I guess, I don't know if she claims to be part of the MGTOW community. I don't know. I don't think women can be part of the MGTOW community. But anyways, it's pretty sad. That's the only person who's really, other than someone who's declared themselves anti-MGTOW, like a non-anti-MGTOW, who's talked about MGTOW toxicity. That's pretty sad. Not one man from the MGTOW community said, hey, guys, we have a problem. This needs to be addressed. Because the problem is, when you have a lot of toxic behavior, and you're not addressing it, well, your community gets more radical and radical. And then eventually, the community you joined has morphed into something else, into some sort of monster. And this is to all MGTOW. Because, yes, maybe you're not the guy doing that. But if you have the ability, if you have the power, if you have the time to address this or to do something about this, then do it. It's not that difficult. You don't even need to make a video about this. Just leave a comment. Challenge people in your community, because that's how a community is going to grow and change. And here's the thing. I may be against I may be against MGTOW. But if there's one thing that I always will support is reform in the MGTOW community. And what I mean by that is the MGTOW community making good improvements. And what I mean by that is, for example, being less toxic, using reliable sources, like not using Wikipedia. And that's the problem. We see a lot of MGTOW, not a lot of MGTOW, but there are some MGTOW out there who like to use Wikipedia to prove their points. Are you kidding me? Wikipedia is the least, it's the worst source I feel like you could use if you're trying to make yourself look credible or make a good argument. Now, I know you can call me out for the genetic fallacy. Well, just because it's on Wikipedia doesn't mean it's automatically wrong. I know if Wikipedia says 2 + 2 = 4, I get that. But you have a higher chance of spreading misinformation on Wikipedia. So I think it's better to find more reliable sources. Anyways, I'm getting off topic here. But as I said, MGTOW toxicity is a point that needs to be addressed. Now, MGTOW, I'd like to know what your thoughts are about this. Do you think this is a problem? Is there something I'm missing? I'd be very interested in hearing your opinions. And yeah, and I apologize, guys. This is a very different video. I don't know. Maybe some of my arguments are kind of bad or weird. I don't know. It's just something new for me. It's something different. I'm just trying to test things out and see how it goes. That pretty much wraps up this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure to, like, comment, subscribe. I also have a BitChute, so go follow me there. And also, follow me on Twitter too, because sometimes I do post stuff on there. And if you're interested in having a conversation with me, feel free to, reach out to me on Twitter, and ask me something. And if I have the time, I'll definitely try to get to you and kind of respond. And maybe we can have an interesting and reasonable conversation. Anyways, that's pretty much all I have to say. Leave your comments, tell me what you think about this. And until next time, my fair ladies and honorable gents, fare thee well.